I grew up knowing there were different rules for my younger sister, Madison. Nobody ever said it out loud, but everyone could see it. If she forgot an assignment, it was because she was stressed. If I forgot one, I was told to be more responsible. If she wanted something expensive, my parents somehow found a way to make it happen. If I wanted something, I was told to save up and earn it myself. To be fair, I did exactly that. By the time I turned 22, I was working part-time, attending college, and saving every extra dollar I could. I didn't complain. I just focused on building my future one step at a time. The one person who seemed to notice everything was my grandmother. Grandma never made dramatic speeches about favoritism, but she paid attention. She saw who was expected to sacrifice and who was always being accommodated. Every birthday, every holiday, every family gathering, she quietly watched. Then, on my 22nd birthday, she surprised everyone. After dinner, she handed me an envelope. Inside was a set of keys. I stared at them in confusion. "Go outside," she said with a smile. Parked in the driveway was a beautiful silver SUV. It wasn't brand new, but it was in excellent condition. I could barely speak. My parents clapped and smiled, but something about their expressions seemed forced. At the time, I ignored it. I had no idea that Grandma's gift was about to expose a problem our family had spent years pretending didn't exist. I left town 2 weeks later for a short training program my company required. It was only supposed to last a few days, but it was the first time I had been away from home since getting the SUV. Before I left, my parents insisted I leave it at home. My father said it was safer in the driveway, and my mother nodded like it was the most reasonable thing in the world. I didn't think much of it. I trusted them. When I came back, I noticed something immediately. The driveway felt empty in a way I couldn't explain at first. Then it hit me. The SUV was gone. I walked inside confused, expecting some simple explanation. My mother was in the kitchen making tea, acting completely normal. My father was watching TV like nothing had changed. I asked where my car was. That's when they told me, almost casually, like it wasn't important at all. "We gave it to Madison," my father said without even looking at me. I blinked. "You what?" My mother finally turned around. "She needed it more than you do. You're barely using it right now." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I reminded them that the SUV was not theirs to give away. It was mine, a gift from Grandma, something given to me specifically. But Madison walked in right then, holding the keys like she had won something. "This is perfect for me," she said with a smile that didn't even try to hide her satisfaction. I looked at all of them, waiting for someone to admit this was a mistake. Nobody did. That was the moment I realized this wasn't confusion or misunderstanding. It was a decision. One they expected me to accept without question, just like every other time before it. That night I couldn't sleep. I kept replaying the conversation over and over, trying to find a version of it that made sense. But every time I turned it in my head, it came back to the same conclusion. They hadn't taken the SUV by accident. They had taken it because they believed I would let them. And the worst part was, they were right. As I lay there, memories started coming back in pieces. Not dramatic moments, but small ones that suddenly felt heavier. Madison getting upgraded phones while mine still worked fine. Family vacations where her preferences decided the entire itinerary. Conversations where my achievements were acknowledged for a second, then immediately redirected back to her needs. I had always told myself it wasn't favoritism, just how families work, but now I couldn't unsee it. The next morning, I tried to bring it up again, calmly, reasonably. I told them how unfair it felt, how they didn't even ask me before giving away something that wasn't theirs. My father sighed like I was being difficult. My mother said I was overreacting. Madison didn't even look up from her phone. "She needed it," my mother repeated, as if that explained everything. That was the moment something inside me shifted. Not anger exactly, clarity. Because for the first time, I realized I wasn't just dealing with a single unfair decision. I was dealing with a pattern my family had never intended to change. I couldn't keep pretending it was just a misunderstanding anymore. So I did the one thing I had never done before. I called Grandma. When she answered, her voice was warm, steady, like always. I kept my tone normal, but halfway through explaining what happened, my voice cracked. There was a long silence on the other end. Then she asked me to repeat it. So I did. Slowly, every detail. The SUV, the keys, Madison, my parents acting like it was nothing. When I finished, Grandma didn't respond right away. I could hear her breathing, controlled but heavier than usual. "Are you sure?" she finally asked. "Yes," I said. "It really happened." Another pause. Then her voice changed. Not loud, not emotional, just colder in a way I had never heard before. "I understand," she said simply. That was it. No immediate anger, no dramatic reaction, just understanding. But something about that calm scared me more than shouting would have. Before hanging up, she said, "Don't do anything. I'll handle this." A few hours later, I got a message from her, a dinner invitation, family only, tomorrow evening, my parents, Madison, and me. No explanation, no hint of what she planned to say. When I told my parents, they shrugged like it was a normal gathering. "She probably just wants to talk things out," my mother said. But I knew better. Grandma didn't call meetings just to talk. That night, I couldn't stop thinking about her voice. Calm, certain, like she had already seen the ending of a story everyone else was still living through. The next evening felt heavier than it should have. We all arrived at Grandma's house at the same time, but nobody spoke much on the way in. My parents acted normal, like this was just another family dinner. Madison looked bored, scrolling on her phone like nothing in the world could affect her. Grandma was already at the table when we walked in. She didn't smile right away. That alone was unusual. Dinner started quietly, too quietly. Plates were served, small talk was attempted, but Grandma barely engaged. She just watched us, one by one. Then, without warning, she set her fork down. "I want to talk about the SUV," she said calmly. My father immediately tried to interrupt, saying it was all a misunderstanding, that Madison needed it more, that I had other options. Grandma raised her hand. Not loudly, not angrily, just enough to stop him. "I didn't give that SUV to the family," she said. "I gave it to my granddaughter, specifically." The room went still. Then she placed a folder on the table. Inside were the purchase documents, the insurance papers, and the transfer records. My name was clearly listed as the owner. Madison's expression changed first, then my mother's, then my father's. Grandma continued, her voice steady but sharp. "This isn't about a car, it's about a pattern, and I've been watching it for years." Nobody spoke. For the first time, my parents didn't have an answer ready. The silence after Grandma's words felt different. Not tense anymore, but final. My father tried to argue again, but his voice didn't carry the same confidence. My mother looked down at the table, avoiding everyone's eyes. Madison finally stopped pretending to be bored. Grandma pushed the folder closer to them. "The SUV goes back to its rightful owner," she said firmly. "Today." No one challenged her this time. Later that evening, Madison returned the keys without a word. My parents didn't apologize, but they didn't defend themselves either. For the first time, the roles in the family felt exposed. As we left, Grandma squeezed my hand and said softly, "Don't accept less than you deserve again." Walking out that night, I realized something simple but powerful. It was never just about a vehicle. It was about finally being seen.